Forsaken, abandoned to the dark, what choice but to follow the flame? The fire to tear down the old ways, burning away all fear, doubt, and weakness. Nothing remains but power and ambition. This roaring fire will always demand more. More fuel. More sacrifice. The fiercest heat to forge the hardest steel. Destiny, rising from within the crucible. To seize the world with this fire is to see it burn first.
How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Good to see you all. Welcome. Oh man, I love that dirty brass. I mean, that is some dirty thick brass for that trailer, which is absolutely fantastic. Now for something completely different. As far as the legendary hero discussion, I think this is going to be kind of an interesting thing to see. Is that so? There are a significant amount of I saw that Ulrika's been confirmed. That's why I'm even willing to talk about it. Is that she has been confirmed by Creative Assembly. I will say that personally, I don't. This is probably not going to be the most popular opinion, but I don't really care about
X100
that it's not really just all legendary lords.
The final or Claude.
Morglum next Snappa. Hey, Big Red Bear, you misspelled Gorfang Rotgut, but that's okay. It's a hard name to spell. You missed, every letter and added way too many, but it's understandable. It happens. Bears aren't known for their spelling. So personally, I will say that when it comes to legendary lords versus legendary heroes, legendary heroes, at least in my opinion, are just significantly better on average. I think as long as the legendary lords that exist cover a wide range, they're able to offer like a good variety across the race, and they get in like all the super famous characters that they can, then great. Am I sad that the FLC is not another legendary lords instead of legendary hero? No, because it doesn't really matter to me. Like, eventually we will get more legendary lords, but legendary heroes are, in my opinion, extremely awesome. And they bring a lot of value to a significant amount of campaigns while taking up zero space, which is ideal. So based on the fact that Creative Assembly has confirmed it, according to the Game Watcher article, Ulrika is a legendary hero for the Empire and Kislev, which is super hype. Kislev desperately needs more toys to play with. And the Empire, that makes sense, just because of its cool character. Burn Chops and Living Legend, good to see you both. Welcome. I will say the 3 legendary lords of the Chaos Dwarfs is interesting. I think at the end of the day, it really, at least in my opinion, and granted, I can't like confirm this, at least not yet. But I suspect that if they had been allowed to use Shar'tor, there would have been 4 legendary lords. But I highly suspect that there was not. They were not allowed to use him, which that was a very real concern of mine, that I have spoken about at length going into if they're gonna do Ulrika, she's gonna be a vampire. If you're gonna do Ulrika, you cannot do pre-bite Ulrika. That's dumb. Her entire trilogy is after. She has a whole trilogy to herself, which takes place after she's been turned into a vampire. Spoilers. What about, okay, I'm gonna do like some quick fire answers, and then I'm gonna get back to rambling. So some quick fire answers. Why is there only 3 legendary lords instead of 4 legendary lords? I suspect that it has to do with probably 3 ideas. Number 1, to be honest, probably not the most popular opinion, but it's just a fact, because like I've literally talked to devs about this in the past. I've seen data that 4 legendary lords is great, but the problem is that generally speaking, the quote-unquote 4th character, usually nobody plays them. There is often one character who is part of those like 4-man packs who tends to kind of fall behind the others. And I would much rather that development go into the overall race being better than just giving another character. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the second point I'd like to make is a lot of people look at the 4 legendary lords and go, oh, these are so good. Oh, these are so awesome. But here's the thing. The Tomb Kings DLC was pretty good. It was very solid. They weren't really missing too much, but it did have a couple of flaws here and there. And although it was a good DLC, the various characters were basically copy-paste. Because a lot of the way that the Tomb Kings are designed, as far as like how they handle recruiting units and free upkeep, and the way their buildings work, they're all identical, in my opinion. I think whether you're playing Cetra, Khalida, Katep, or Archon is actually different. Archon's different. Granted, he's not as different as I would have liked, but he's at least a little different. But like Khalida especially is just kind of there. I like her. I love her. Wouldn't get rid of her, but she's great. Vampire Coast, that DLC wasn't even finished. It still isn't finished, in my opinion. RNS Assault Spite was a really weird addition onto that pack. Like Arnessa, it was a little weird putting a living character in the Vampire Coast roster and not going further with that. She conflicts in a lot of ways with the Vampire Coast, and she kind of feels extra. I love Salt Spite, but she needs like way more living soldiers. I'm still very much hoping at some point we get like a Marienburg DLC or a Talea DLC that adds in units that she can then take into her roster, because right now she's so basic. But in any event, the bigger problem I have with the Vampire Coast is a lot of people are like, oh, the Vampire Coast are so amazing. They're so, yeah, sure. Like the Vampire Coast are cool, but here's the thing, guys. What is the main narrative thrust of the Vampire Coast DLC, right? Like, what is the main storyline that you are dealing with as part of that paid content? And if you don't remember, because you might not have played it in a while, the answer is Aminar. Aminar, the big bad merworm, who does literally nothing. Like, Aminar is the most, he's just not finished. Like, Aminar doesn't do anything. He's a virtually non-existent mechanic. Like, we should have gotten merworms frankly. But like Aminar's just kind of there. He doesn't interact with your campaign at all, even though like he's the entire main focus of the campaign. And then when you beat the campaign, you don't get anything for it. Like, oh, Aminar no longer destroys your ports, which he didn't really do in the first place. Like, Aminar kind of feels like they wanted it to be threatening, and then, like, I'm assuming they did playtesting, and people who had to deal with Aminar blowing up their shit were like, this sucks, I hate my ports getting destroyed, and they probably shied away from it when they should have just allowed Aminar to be, like, a nightmare. But, in any event, like, my thing is that I really enjoyed the 4 Lord race DLCs. However, I felt that it's noticeable when you look at those DLCs that the actual meat of the content is lacking compared to what I hope the Chaos Dwarfs are going to be. Looking at the article they've released, the Chaos Dwarfs look pretty dense. As far as they have 4 types of resources. No, 5 technically. They have 5 resource types, right? So we've seen that they have raw materials, armaments, conclave influence, money, and laborers. So that is 5 different resources you need to juggle, as opposed to like who's the most complex. Like at like, I don't know, Dark Elves with like slaves and money, or Tehenuin with sacrifices and money. Like at most 2. So, and then each of those seems to like have interesting interactions. Granted, we haven't really got to see it yet, so I don't really have like a full opinion. But what I am hoping will be the case is that the Chaos Dwarfs will be a very deep DLC. So there are 3 legendary lords, but they have like a metric fuck ton of goodies. And hopefully they have more uniqueness to each of them. And here's the thing. We have 3 legendary lords now, but we'll probably get more in the future. You know, it looked like they were trying to show off most of the roster, and there are things that my collar's popped. No, it's not. That being said, I don't really have an opinion on the 3 legendary lord and 1 legendary hero versus 4 legendary lords until I have the chance to play it. I was really hoping for a Bull Centaur focused legendary lord. I was. That was probably like probably my biggest wish. Shar'tor, I could say with confidence, is an Age of Sigmar character, apparently, which is stupid because he never did anything in Age of Sigmar. So if Games Workshop better fucking do something with that, because he never came out. But like his model came out by itself. Honestly, getting a legendary hero in immediately is extremely exciting for me. I love legendary heroes. I personally think legendary heroes bring significantly more value to the game than legendary lords do. Because legendary lords you can't mix and match your legendary lords. Like a legendary lord it allows the player to kind of have like this avatar focused character who like has some initial impacts on the campaign, or in the case of a few of them, some massive impacts, but those are few and far between. Gorduz legendary heroes I love so much because they're available to everyone. Like you're able to get them no matter who you're playing, and they add like so much value. Like having Gorduz along, like, I don't know, like I was much more happy about Ariel coming to the Wood Elves than I was about the Sisters of Twilight. I love the Sisters of Twilight, but getting Ariel to all of the different Wood Elf factions was extremely awesome for me. Getting Lord Croak for the Lizardmen was a much bigger deal for me than getting Gorok. And the other thing is that I love legendary lords, but I think they need to be added with care.
Yotam 9 cheered. X100. Legendary Lords are a whole new campaign though. Legendary heroes are the same regardless of which campaign you play with them.
Yeah, but you say that like a whole new campaign is actually like a meaningful difference, which I don't think it is. Like I don't think that playing Katep versus playing Khalida versus playing Cetra is a meaningful experience change. Whereas I think that a legendary hero is more value because it does not matter which campaign you play, you get additional value. That's my thing, is that the matter of the fact is there are a number of lords that the community just doesn't play. Like very, very, very few people seem to play characters like Tic-Tac-Toe or Solostra Deerfawn, Arnes Assault Spite. Like there's I can't remember if it's Katep or Khalida that's played the least of the Tomb Kings, but like there's a lot of characters that are just kind of and the thing is that if they're gonna bring in a fourth Chaos Dwarf Legendary Lord, it needs to be someone meaningful. Like Rykarth the Unbreakable, I don't care about Rykarth, I'm gonna be honest. He's not really a character in my view. Rykarth never was published in any books. Rykarth only existed if you decided to play the Nemesis Crown event. You could go to a website, a community website that was run by Games Workshop at the time, and they had characters that they suggested you could take with your faction, and Rykarth was the Chaos Dwarf character that existed on the website. Like, I have all of the Nemesis Crown printed books, and the Chaos Dwarfs aren't in it. They're not a part of it. I don't know why people latched onto Rykarth. I really don't. To me, it's kind of one of those things. It's like when I find out that the community has like latched their fangs onto a some like random ass white dwarf character that's never been mentioned since. Which, you know, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not.
X1D.
Do I think we'll see Ghark Ironskin? Yes, but I highly suspect now that they have not used Ghark, I am fairly convinced that Ghark is probably going to be a DLC character, not a free LC character. Because my original thought was that they were going to do 2 Ogre DLCs. One of them was going to be Maneater themed with Golgfag Maneater, and the other was going to be like monster and creature themed with like some new character, like maybe like a hunter legendary lord. So instead of a hunter character, just use a monster character and use Ghark. And honestly, he would be fine with that. Like, he would fit that very smoothly. So personally, I'm just kind of in my head, I have shifted Ghark Ironskin from a free LC character to a DLC character. Because they were going to have to come up with somebody new for the ogres anyway. Yeah. I hope this legendary lord push gives us Krell as legendary hero. Yeah, that would be great. I think Krell as legendary hero would be a pretty, though I will be honest. If we do get Krell as a legendary hero, I suspect he's going to be like Gorich, where he's locked to Kimmler's faction. So if you want to get him as playing the other vampires, you'll need to confederate Kimmler. But at least there's a chance there, you know. I don't think he'll be for all vampire counts. I think he'll be Kimmler only. Just like how like Isabella is Vlad only, or Vlad is Isabella only. Would I be okay with 3 legendary lords instead of 4 in a future vampires DLC? Well, see, that's not the same thing though. That's the thing. The 3 legendary lords and 1 legendary hero is for future race packs, not for future like everything. You know, it's kind of the situation of Wolverine 6 to 7 months. Like, if they do a Champions of the Vampire counts, right, then I suspect it would be like the Champions of Chaos, where you have 4 characters, but they don't require nearly as much. You have to remember, because you already have the foundation of the race.
Legendary hero going forward. How would you see that for a hypothetical Araby? Personally, I think Golden Magus, Fantandira and Ibn Jafar, descendant of original Jafar, as LL with
Al-Mukhtar is a legendary hero. I mean, that could work. I am making a video right now, or I'm writing a script right now on Araby. I could tell you now, a lot of people are not going to like my Araby proposal because my Araby proposal is under the distinct flag of my mini race pack. So like 1 or 2 legendary lords, instead of 3 or 4, or I guess 3 and a hero going forward. Just because I don't think Araby will ever get enough attention or love, at least anywhere in the future, to have more than 2 at most. Like if you use the Golden Magus, I could see 2 characters. Like you get one like more naval focused character in the Golden Magus, and then you get a more traditional Araby character who starts in the Great Desert of Araby. Is the Fanatical discount page up? Not yet. I have messaged them. They're working on it. It's not up yet. But like, yeah, no, I honestly, like, I hate what they did with the Golden Magus in the books. If I had never read the Dreadfleet book and they had never revealed that the Golden Magus was a Tzeentchian cultist at the end of the book, I would have loved him as a character. I hate so fucking much that he turned out to be a Tzeentch character in the end. Because like, I just wanted like a badass Arabian character, and then he turns out to be a chaos character, which is like,
X100. No current plans literally means it's not currently something we are planning, meaning our focus is on other stuff. In future we could be planning that stuff and it's not ruled out, but it's not part of the current plan.
Good lord.
The Big Red Bear cheered. X100. I suspect that if there is enough fan outcry for Nippon, it may get made.
That's true.
Indiana is a lot more likely than Nippon on the human side. Not sure what other non-human races we'll see though.
So okay. Oh my god. The Colwall, thanks so much for 4 months. My general thought is that as far as the remaining races go, I think the most likely races that we'll see made playable that like in order would be Shingyao Tactico, thanks so much for the 9 months. Congrats on the stream, baby. I would say that the list is probably, so Chaos Dwarfs just came out, right? So I would say following the Chaos Dwarfs, the most likely races to come out are the Kingdoms of End, the Naga of Koresh, the Dogs of War, I would put below that. Araby, I would put below the Dogs of War. Then you get down to like the really like stuff where I would put like, that's where I would put Nippon, the Hobgoblin Khanate, the Fishmen, and that's really it. that would be the end. That being said, some of those I don't think stand a realistic chance of being like 3 legendary lords and a legendary hero. I think they would have to be considerably smaller than that. Yeah, that is the realistic list. Well, so Nagash is not going to be a separate race. Like, Nagash at best is going to be the various undead factions like fused, and he's going to have 1 new unit. That's it. Nagash is not going to be some wild new thing. He's going to be like an interesting thing, but he's not. Calling him a race is disingenuous. Any units that are missing in the Chaos Dwarfs that I would like to see? Yeah, the Chaos Siege Giant. I did not see a Chaos Siege Giant, which makes me think it's not in the game, at least not currently, because it's such like a big icon, like attention grabbing piece that they would have been silly not to show it. But I'm fine with it coming later, because like, you know, giants are giants. They're not necessarily completely unique ideas. I'd much rather have the Kadai Destroyer. Yeah, the Chaos Siege Giant was the only thing that really caught my attention. I would very much like to see Harridans at some point. Once again, though, not necessary. Pretty sure I saw the Immortals, so I'm super hyped about that. I prefer, like, I don't know, like, from kind of like a storytelling perspective, I would say I preferred, from a storytelling perspective, I preferred the Vampire Coast trailer. It's my favorite because you really get to see Luther Harkin's like personality shine through. I definitely preferred this one over the Tomb Kings one though. The Tomb Kings one was cool, but I think this one kind of did a better job of showcasing the. I don't know. They're just different. I don't think they're one's necessarily worse.
Was the Chaos Dwarf?
They're just different.
Mistake, the fact they
Thoughts on them saying laborers instead of slaves? So I think the very simple explanation for that is game mechanics. They don't want to call them slaves because Dark Elves have slaves. So if they call the if you call the Chaos Dwarf captives slaves, that's going to imply that they're the same resource as the Dark Elf versions, and I don't think they're meant to be the same. I think it is they want to make it very clear that they are different currencies. So no, it's not for PC reasons. What the fuck are you talking about? We already have slaves in the game. How could it be for PC reasons if we already have slaves? We literally already have slave trades in the game. Do not come in here with that. Oh, they're trying to be all PC. Like we already have a slave race. Now we just have an unpaid labor race. It's the same thing. It's just a different way of saying it. If anything, it's worse because the chaos. At least the Dark Elves are honest about it.
They should have.
What faction would I recommend to start off as a beginner? I think for a beginner, probably the best faction for beginners. I think Tyrion. Tyrion is a super duper duper good beginner faction. Is very new player friendly. I think you'll also have a really good time with Zhao Ming from Grand Cathay is pretty new player friendly. And has like a lot of really nice stuff going on. Malekith is pretty solid. Yeah, I'd probably recommend one of those. The Empire used to be great for new players, but a lot of their campaigns are actually relatively difficult now. Because there's like a lot of baddies. So anyway, hope you all have a lovely day. I gotta bounce, and I will see y'all next time. Thank you for watching. Love your faces. Please be safe. Take care of yourselves. Remember that you're important. Your happiness matters, and no matter what, you're awesome, and you deserve to be happy. So please do what you can to take care of yourself, because that's important to me. So thank you all again for watching, and happy Dwarf Day. See you guys later.